Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. Today we are tackling something really fascinating, effective learning strategies. And we're going deep, too, not just skimming the surface.
We've got a mountain of research to dig through, articles, practical
Oh,
guides,
yeah.
all to figure out how we can learn better. As students, as educators, you name it.
It's like we're trying to unlock the secrets of the brain, how it all works.
What's really cool is we're looking at this from all sides. Active learning techniques, learning theories that are a bit more academic, and even how they train professionals in the corporate world.
Okay, so where do we even begin with all this?
Let's kick things off with a concept that's been shaking things up in education. Active learning.
Active learning. All right.
For the longest time, learning was pretty passive, right? Sit still, listen to the expert, soak it all in. But active learning, it flips that whole script.
Okay, so what does it actually look like, active learning? How do you do it?
Well, one of the sources we've got, Skillshare, they lay out some awesome benefits of active learning, and they give some really concrete examples too.
Okay, yeah, give us some examples.
They talk about how it helps you develop critical thinking skills, how it gets people collaborating better, and get this, they call it stickier learning.
Stickier learning. I like that.
Right. It's like the information actually sticks with you, not just disappears after the test.
Exactly, yeah.
Think about it. When you just listen passively to a lecture, you're mostly using auditory memory. But active learning, you're using multiple senses. Your brain is firing on all cylinders. You're discussing, debating, even teaching the stuff to others.
Right, right.
That creates a much stronger memory in your brain.
I like how Skillshare makes it relatable, too. They talk about case studies, like how medical students use those
Oh, yeah.
to learn about diagnosis and treatment. They even bring up gamification. Makes learning fun, a bit competitive.
Gamification, absolutely. Think about those sales teams. They use it all the time to learn about new products. And these principles, they can be used anywhere, any field.
And this one fact from Skillshare really surprised me. Just explaining something to someone else makes you understand it better yourself.
Oh, it's true. That's the magic of peer teaching. You can't hide if you don't know something when you gotta explain it.
You're forced to really grasp it. I've had those moments helping a friend with their homework, and I'm the one who has the epiphany.
Exactly. It's awesome. Now, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about some common learning myths. We've all been there, right?
Oh, for sure. I've fallen for plenty.
Like this one from Harvard Extension School, familiarity equals learning. Rereading the same paragraph over and over, thinking we've got it, but then blank stare when it's time to actually use the knowledge.
Oof, guilty as charged. Highlighting away, thinking I was a learning machine. But then, nothing.
We've all been there. That feeling of fluency when we reread can be deceiving. Our brain recognizes the word, so we think we've mastered it.
So why does this happen? Why does our brain trick us like that?
It's all about how our brain processes information. As we get familiar with the text, reading gets easier. Our brains don't have to work as hard, so we misinterpret that ease as mastery.
So we're fooling ourselves. Sneaky brain.
It is sneaky. But here's the good news. Harvard Extension School says this isn't about age. It's about how we approach learning.
So we can all become better learners no matter how old we are.
Exactly. True learning, it's about deep understanding, not just surface level stuff. Now, we've busted some myths. What about stuff that actually works?
Yeah, let's get practical.
We've got some awesome insights from Third Space Learning and 20 strategies that work, practical strategies for teaching and learning.
Right.
And these strategies, they take the theory of active learning and put it into action right in the classroom.
So let's talk direct instruction. Sometimes it gets a bad rap, being too teacher-centered.
Right.
But Third Space Learning says it can be super effective if you do it right.
Absolutely. It's not about lecturing AT students. It's about making it engaging, interactive. You got to check if they're actually getting it.
They give some neat examples, mini whiteboards for quick answers, or one-on-one help, like math tutoring.
Yeah, feedback is key. And making sure each student is learning, not just being talked at.
Both our sources also talk about the power of asking questions.
Questions are huge.
Third Space Learning says it makes students more involved. AD helps teachers spot those little misunderstandings.
It's a win-win. Students have to think, teachers get insights. Now, speaking of those misunderstandings, Third Space Learning also talks about rote memorization.
Ah, good old memorization.
It has its place for things like times tables or vocab,
Yep.
but it shouldn't be the end goal, right?
Right. It's a starting point, not the finish line.
Exactly. And 20 strategies, they have a great point. Don't assume all learners need the same starting point. Meet them where they're at.
Right. Make it challenging, but not overwhelming.
That's the key to good teaching. Recognizing everyone's different, everyone learns differently.
We've been talking a lot about how learning works, but how do we actually, put these ideas into practice? How do we make it happen?
That's a great question, and it leads us right into this really important connection between learning theory, the ideas, and instructional design, how we actually make those ideas work. Just because someone's an expert doesn't mean they're a good teacher.
Oh, I've had plenty of those. Brilliant professors knew their stuff inside and out, but I couldn't learn a thing from them.
It's true. And that's where instructional design comes in. Khalil and Elkider, they've done a lot of research on this. They say something that really stuck with me. Instructional design, it's a science. It's about taking those cool learning principles we talked about and turning them into like a structured plan for teaching and learning.
So it's not just about knowing the stuff, it's about knowing how to teach it so people actually get it.
Yeah, it's like you can have all the ingredients for an amazing meal, but without a recipe, good luck making it tasty. You need both, the ingredients and the know-how.
I love that analogy. It makes me think about all the courses I've taken, the ones that really stuck with me, the ones where I felt like I actually learned something. They probably had good instructional design behind them.
I bet you're right. And if you remember Gagne's different learning domains, cognitive, affective, psychomotor, those really good courses probably hit all three. They didn't just focus on what you know, but how you feel about learning and how you use that knowledge in real life.
So good instructional design is about making learning not just informative, but engaging and relevant to what the student wants to achieve.
Absolutely. Okay, let's switch gears a bit again. Let's talk about developing skills for the future. How do we prepare people for what's coming next? Geert Schues and his team, they have this research on the 4 E's of developing capabilities.
The 4 E's. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Think of it as a framework for getting people ready, not just for one job, but for a world that's always changing. You got to be adaptable. The first E is enthuse. Learning has to be engaging and connected to what the learner wants to do, their dreams, their goals. It's all about that internal drive, that curiosity that makes us want to learn and grow.
So connect learning to what people actually care about.
Yeah. The second E is explore. Here's where active learning comes back. Give people the chance to build knowledge through dialogue, challenges, real-world stuff. Let them get your hands dirty, try things out.
More than just memorizing facts, it's about using that knowledge, right?
Exactly. The third E is extend. Push that understanding further. Help them connect what they're learning to different situations, different fields. That ability to transfer learning, that's huge in today's world.
So learning isn't stuck in the classroom, you can use it anywhere.
Yes. And the last E is exhibit. Give people ways to show what they can do, what they've learned. It's not just about knowing, it's about showing you know and can use it.
So knowledge is great, but you got to be able to prove you can use it.
Right. And this, honestly, it's tough work for both the teacher and the student. Both sides got to be committed, engaged.
These 4 E's are really making me think. It applies to school, but also personal stuff, professional growth. It's about always learning throughout your whole life.
I agree. Now let's dive into the world of technology. How is it changing how we learn and teach? Our sources show it's a rapidly evolving landscape.
Let's talk tech. Always exciting.
ASTD and I4CP, they focus on workplace learning. They're seeing this huge rise in e-learning, virtual classrooms.
Yeah, the future is digital. Makes sense.
It does seem that way. But Zapator reminds us, this digital shift, it's got challenges, AD opportunities.
Yeah, what kind of challenges are we talking about?
Well, there are so many new translation technology tools popping up. Educators, they can't just teach one platform. They need to teach adaptability.
It's not about mastering one specific thing. It's about being able to learn new things, new tech, as it comes out, right?
Yeah. Exactly. It's about having that mindset of always learning, always growing. Zapator has this great case study about it. They used CSCL, computer-supported collaborative learning, along with role-playing, to simulate a real translation workflow.
That's so cool. Using tech to make learning more real, more hands-on. It's like they brought the real world into the learning environment.
Exactly. And it shows how technology can really help us bridge that gap between like the theory and the actual practice. Gets people ready for this crazy digital world we live in.
This whole deep dive has been so insightful. We covered active learning, debunked some learning myths, talked about what makes teaching effective, and even looked at how technology is changing everything. And through it all, I keep coming back to this idea. Effective learning, it's active, it's dynamic.
It's a journey, for sure, not just a destination. All these strategies we've talked about today, whether you're in school, at work, or just learning for fun, they apply. At any age, really.
It's so easy to get caught up in what we're learning, the specific topics, the skills. But today, it's really made me think about the HLW. Like, how am I actually learning? Those strategies, those are the game changers.
Think of it like a toolbox full of different learning techniques. Once you know how your brain learns best, you pick the right tool for the job.
Exactly. So, to wrap up this deep dive, we challenge you. Pick one strategy, just one, and try it out this week. Maybe it's active recall, testing yourself on what you've learned, or try that peer teaching thing we talked about, explain something to a friend.
Or maybe it's those 4 E's. See how they fit into your own learning goals.
Whatever you choose, we'd love to hear about it. Share your experiences on social media, use our episode hashtag, tell us what worked for you.
Learning, it's a lifelong adventure, never stops. Embrace the challenge, try new things, and most importantly, keep that curiosity alive.
That's it for our deep dive on effective learning strategies. Until next time, happy learning, everyone.